To say Detroit is in dire financial straits is a vast understatement. They're literally weeks away from totally running out of all cash. A report out Monday from the city's emergency manager shows $15 billion in debt and a growing deficit, plus those unfunded pensions. Where's the money going to come from to save this city? And they need it fast. The mayor of Lansing, Michigan joins us now. He's Verge Monero, a frequent guest on this program. Verge, thank you very much for coming back to us. We appreciate it, sir.
Happy to be here, Stuart. How you doing?
That's the question I've got. Where is the money coming from? They're going to have money within the next 2 weeks. Is it going to come from the feds, from President Obama, or is it going to come from Michigan? Where's it coming from?
Well, of course, Stuart, you may be talking to the wrong guy. I can't tell you that. I'm sure that plenty of people are in line for a haircut all the way around. It's going to be shared sacrifice. I wanted to talk to you, Stuart, a little bit about why Detroit and other cities are failing, particularly in Michigan.
But you've got to have an opinion on this. I mean, look, it's a neighboring city. It's in the same state as you.
I haven't. My opinion is that Detroit, in many respects, defines Michigan, and so we all need to be concerned about Detroit, and I am concerned. And there are many, the vast majority,
Come on, Your Honor, do you agree with me that there's only two choices here? They've got to have money. They've got to. Otherwise, they just totally shut down. Everything shuts down totally. Well, they've got to have it, and there's only two choices. Do you agree with me on that? It's the feds or it's the Michigan governor. Who is it?
Well, I think the governor has to step up. Right. I think it should be all hands on deck, Stuart. I really believe that, but I also think that the city has to be committed to a long-term plan for solvency
and for success. Are you prepared to see money go from your city? You run Lansing, Michigan. Are you prepared to see money from your city go to Detroit? Are you?
Well, in a word, no. I can't. We can't afford it. I'm trying to fill my potholes and keep police on the streets here in Lansing. So again, I think there's going to be. I think a lot of folks are in line for a haircut. I think it's going to have to be shared sacrifice. But our cities are failing by design. Detroit is a spectacular example. But we have many cities that are headed toward bankruptcy, that are headed toward an emergency manager, and it's not even just the governor's fault. I'm not here just to blame the Republican governor, Stuart. I'm telling you, we have failure by design because we're operating on an antiquated game plan. Our municipal system in Michigan is based on the Northwest Ordinance with President Washington. I heard you talk about our founding fathers. Yeah. Our founding fathers did a nice job, but George Washington, we're operating on the Northwest Ordinance.
But look, is it the pensions? Is it the unpayable promises that we have made in the past to municipal workers? Is that the big deal?
Well, you know I'm not going to lie to you, Stuart. There's no question. I believe that we've been a little over generous. I think we're going to have to make adjustments in that regard. But I'm telling you, a lot of cities and townships have done that. That's one element, the legacy cost that you talk about. But the reality is that we're based on a township form of government in the Northwest Ordinance, which is 6 by 6. It was designed so that the person could drive to their township government within one day and still get home in time before it became dark.
I take your point, Your Honor, but look, that's not going to change. You've got 2 weeks to get money to Detroit.
And Detroit, and they'll have to come up with a crisis management plan. But my plea, Stuart, is let's stop with the one-time fixes. My point is that an emergency manager alone is not going to fix what's wrong with Detroit. You can fix the numbers, you can balance the books, but we've got to get beyond surviving and to the point of thriving. You know, our young people want to move to thriving cities. The fastest-growing states have the fastest-growing cities in them. We don't have them in Michigan. We don't have those fast-growing cities. We're losing population because we've allowed our metro regions to decay. We had urban sprawl, and now we have urban decay. We've got to find a way to have functioning metro regions like they've done in Nashville and Louisville and other capital cities.
So, Mayor, would that mean that you would be for lower taxes, pro-growth policies, maybe incentives to get businesses to invest? I mean, because in the past, I don't think you were for those things, but it sounds like you're open to them now.
Well, I don't know. What I'm talking about is thriving metro regions. In Columbus, they didn't just lower taxes. In Columbus, which is a pretty thriving metro region, they just voted to raise their income tax. So if you look at my policy, the fact is, if you look up Verge Monero and you find out the kind of mayor I've been, you'll find out that we are very pro-business. We lay out the red carpet instead of the red tape. But in fact, some of the highest wage areas are not the lowest tax areas. So I'd suggest let's get the facts here. The fact is that it does take taxes to provide good services. And people want to move there where there is quality services. I'm for a lean and efficient government, but I am not generally just for less government across the board. I'm for enough government that you need to provide vital services and attract jobs.
Less government for the cities of Michigan, aren't you, Your Honor? You're going to have to do that.
Well, I've cut my workforce by 30%, Stuart.
You're going to have to cut it again? Will you have to cut it again?
We may. We're constantly
right-sizing. Have you got to trim the pensions that pays to the Lansing retired municipal workers? You're going to have to?
I don't think there's any, Stuart, I don't think there's any question about that. I think people are going to have to pay more for their pension. They're going to have to pay more for their health care. I'm paying more for my health care. That's the way it is. As I've said, I've admitted to you, I think cities, municipalities have probably been over-generous in that regard. But in Michigan, I'm telling you, we have a problem with the way government is structured. There are other units all over other states growing faster, and they have fast-growing cities. But a lot of the cities that we're talking about, when you start talking about this low-tax business like that, solves everything. Some of the fastest growing cities and the cities that are attracting young people, including our young people, are cities like Chicago and New York, which have high costs in them. And again, I'm not justifying profligate spending. We need to be lean. We need to be efficient. But the fact is we need services. We need good roads in Michigan. Our roads are crumbling. We need to invest in infrastructure. We need to invest in IT. Almost everything runs by computer today. And we have to make investments in education, principally education
That's just
as well.
another word for spend, isn't it, Your Honor?
Well,
it's just another word for
I know
spend.
You guys get offended. I know you on the right get offended.
I just want to be honest, Your Honor. I just want to be honest. Don't talk to me about investing in roads, investing in education. You're spending money which you don't have.
Stuart, if there's one thing we are as mayors, we're grounded in facts, we're grounded in reality because we're in the trenches. And yes, it takes taxes, it takes dollars to fill potholes and to answer 911 calls.
And because people won't pay it.
Let me tell you and your partner this. They will pay it. You're wrong. They will pay it. My people have voted for more taxes for police, fire, and roads. They voted to tax themselves more to keep those services. You got to remember, we mayors, we're on the front lines. You're not talking to some politician. We're on the front lines. When people call 911, they're not calling Fox News and they're not calling the state capitol. When people call 911, they're calling City Hall. We have to answer those calls.
All right. Here's my last word. The people who vote for more taxes are not the ones who pay more taxes. That's true at the national level, it's true at the state level, and it's true at the city level.
It's not true.
Yes, it is.
It is not true at the city level. You don't know what you're talking about. They voted for it and they pay it.
Okay. Bernero. I apologize. Thanks for joining us, Your Honor.